disappear then. Alright, you're probably wondering what this video is about. Well, it's a tier list. It's a Snowrunner tier list, which I know I haven't played it on the channel because reasons, but I've played it in my spare time on my one console that I have owned. Not recently, but before certain things happened, and when I did have the ability to do that, I didn't do much. So my hours are rather high because I do have all the content at the moment. However, season 14 is not included on here. It's not. It's up to season 13, which is fine because I don't own any of the vehicles in season 14, which are the 2 tractors and the 2 Earth Roamer things. Those 2 scout. Um, I have the vehicle list over here in case I need assistance because I'm that forgetful sometimes. Well, I say all of them. Pretty much almost all of them, with the exception of some weird oddballs like him, because that's a little iffy, but whatever. Where's that Earth Roamer? This thing. It's basically a Ford version and a Chevy version of these weird little camper things. And then 2 weird tractors, which include the class Zerion 5000 and that weird the triaxle tractor from 1975. This Valmet stupid thing. I don't own those, nor are they included on this tier list at the bottom. Everything season 13 and the DLC, and with the exception of that new Kenworth DLC, because that's not on here either. Though I have heard great things about the Kenworth DLC. There's the T880 and the C500. Those 2 are pretty good from what I've heard, from what I've seen, from what I've read reviews and watched reviews on. It seems like they're good, and there could be a buff for the tires of the T880 because that doesn't have an all-wheel drive function. Because yes, it's one of those games where all-wheel drive might and or might not matter. So there is that. I have not played in a while, so I'm going to be rusty. I'm gonna try my best to do the vanilla game trucks first, and then I might do the paid trucks after that, and then try and because I don't have a lot of time, or I do have some time, I just don't know how much. Uh, let's start with this one might not be filled at all. This unknown / did not use tier because I don't know. We have overpowered perfection. Overpowered is a negative thing, but then again, if it makes the truck very useful and something we use almost all the time, fair. Near perfect has 1 or 2 faults that might make it not SS tier. There's excellent, which is good. It's not perfect, but it's better than great, and so on and so forth. The lid of trash, and trash are just stuff that sucks balls. And I don't mean Officer Balls from that Arkham Asylum game. Ha, nice reference, but you get the idea. Let's just start with what should I start with actually? We have the ANKs. You know what? We're just gonna start with this logging thing over here. I forget what it was called. You're gonna see me flip back and forth between these 2 pages a lot in case I forget something. It's the weird logging boy, which the Aramatsu Forester, or the John Deere looking boy. He is great, but he's only great at logging enterprises, because he only can have the logging crane, and then only the logging I guess modifications on it, the small or the medium. He can't have the long one, nor can he have any other add-ons. He's great because he's articulated and an 8x8, which is nice. I think it has always on diff lock. I know it has all-wheel drive switchable, I think, but I don't remember. I don't remember because I haven't played that much. Or I've played a lot, I just haven't played recently, so I don't remember. And I don't want to just launch the thing, start it up, and then quickly go through my things to see what it has, because that's cheating. So, can't do that. And I can't do that anyway, because I don't have my things at the moment. So, I'm just gonna put it in good, but it has a very limited use. It's great, but because it's down on usability, like you only use it for logging, that's unfortunately where it's gonna go, and it's probably gonna sit there for the rest of the video because I'm not gonna move it. Now, let's start with something I wish was better. This, as of the 10 by 10, I forget the name of it, but I know it's an as of 10 by 10. So it should be near the top somewhere. Or not. Okay, that's fine. Love it when things go. There it is. The 73-210. The 73-210, this gigantic 10 by 10, was not good. It would have been in trash. It would have been in trash. However, certain DLCs at this point, because we're in season 14, we're going to get season 15, I think soon, but I don't remember, added an ability called active suspension, which, if you don't know what that is, you press a button and the vehicle will raise for better ground clearance, and then you press the same button again, it will lower back down. Because that thing has a horrible overhang on the front. Excuse me. It has a terrible overhang. So, because of that, I'm going to say it's decent, but it still has some problems. But it would have sat in trash if it wasn't for the active suspension. I think it was in season 4, which was my personal hell, personally, which was, I believe, Amur, which is just devil's. That's just the devil's lair at that point. It's snowy devil's lair. This one, I never got the chance to. I think it was these two specific ones I never use because I never got to own them. So we're just going to put these two in there because I don't know much about them. So there is that. So I guess it wasn't going to stay empty. And that one too. That new thing. I'm going to move you up there and move you there. I don't own certain scouts at this point, including the Khan. I forgot about that one. I forgot about that guy. Uh, are you the 6x6 or are you the 4x4 version? Because I don't know. I'm looking to see if there's another one in here and I'm not seeing it. I don't see it. So we're just gonna. I don't know if that one's. And I can't. I think it's the. I think it's the 4x4, which I don't own because that's a separate vehicle DLC from the first one that came out with that particular brand of Rizvani. So there is that. Stop it. I don't care about ads at this point. Uh. Uh. Let's just get. Where's that certain one in here? There's a certain one in here that I know needs to go in trash. It just needs to go in trash because it only has one function. There it is. This little stupid thing. The sprinter. The sprinter is trash. Like, it's good for one function only. But because you literally can't use it for anything else, and you don't even get to use it in single player. Unless I'm wrong about that one, but this one was season 7, where you had one map, 2 vehicles, and all of it was racing, but you couldn't do the racing part because you needed multiplayer, which meant you needed to either pay for Xbox Game Pass to gain multiplayer functionality or PlayStation Plus multiplayer functionality, which equals they suck. Because I don't want to pay for a service just to be able to do something cool and fun on that season in particular. And since it's a race truck, you can unlock it, and I just never use it. I never use it. I would put it here in a heartbeat. But I tried it. It's fun. But at the same time, you can't use it on that map unless you literally pay for PlayStation Plus, if you have that, or PlayStation Plus, or the Xbox Game Pass. So this one in particular can go suck balls. So that one can just stay in trash. Uh, a lot of these scouts are just probably just gonna end up sitting in the did not use because I never use scouts. I never use scouts because I just never use them. So I just never use them. I have no need to use scouts. So we can probably just put all the scouts in the did not use thing, which is probably gonna make some people angry, but it's a scout, so eh. These later one, I'll move all the scouts in there, and then we'll move on to the big heavy boys because these two in particular, these two Land Rovers suck. They suck anyway. So I never thought it'd be that full, but God. Any more scouts? You're a scout, I think. You're a scout, but you're paid scout. You both are, but you're one's separate and one's with a season. Yeah, that other one. You're okay actually. Like, you're good, but then again, you're the only one that's actually okay. Like, I'm gonna put that scout up there in good. These two Land Rovers, I would say they're fine. These two Land Rovers are decent, I guess. But then again, you get both of them, and the Defender is better than the new Defender. But they both still are not great scouts. The Loaf actually is a good scout, a great scout, because it has a very thick and very um stable frame. And so if a truck pulls over, there's literally a video on the internet where a truck will flip over and they come in them in this little van and they use the winch on this van to literally take this gigantic behemoth of a vehicle and flip it back on its wheels because this thing has broken, well, I say broken, very, very good weight stability for the winch. I guess if that's how I'm gonna explain it. So that one's just gonna sit there. Now the Hummer, I never use the Hummer. You unlock it in like Alaska for free, and then it has certain things on it which are good. It has a great engine for a scout, but then again, newer scouts have come along and have taken its throne away because, oh, let's just be honest here. Certain ones suck and certain ones are better than the others, so that's just even better. Uh, there's a lot of these I never used. Uh, I don't know. I'm just gonna pick one. You, my friend, are the lid of trash. Like, you're a great scout because you have mud tires, all-wheel drive, and diff lock, all of the things. But you're literally a forklift in one of the worst regions, or the second worst region within the year one pass. The second worst. Because the Yukon, to me, sucks balls. Not as much as Amur, because Amur was, ugh, it was literally frozen hell. And you needed to go to Amur to unlock a very certain vehicle here, which is probably the best vehicle in that year one pass, the best one. Until this one came along as a separate DLC recently to bring back the king of Snowrunner. These two were tying for kings, but we'll get to those in a bit. Now, this scout, never used. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, the forklift of stupidity. It's great, but it has no ground clearance, no snorkel, and you can only change the fork on the front to be narrow or wide, and that's it. That's pretty much all you can do to customize this thing. Because you can't change the rims, you can't change the tires, I don't think, and you can't change the engine very much. I think you got like one or two engine options, and that's it. Which don't really do anything. So this one, I'm putting it in the lid of trash. I would put it in decent, but just to spite people, I'm putting it in the lid of trash. It's above trash with the Sprinter. I would put them both in the same tier, but it's a good scout. They're both good vehicles, but with limitations on board, they suck. They suck. Uh, I'm not an expert on this either, so don't hate me. I believe it's one of you two Western Star. Oh yeah, you three are or four Western Stars are DLC, but you're the only one that's a separate DLC altogether because you are actually good. But then again, the tire DLC definitely helps all these vehicles out because then they help all the vehicles that they apply to. Excuse me, God, that hurts. Ugh. Uh, whew, God. Sorry. Pacific P12. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Oh, God. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I'm gonna put this one in good tier. I never liked it to begin with. Like, it's better than the P16, but the P16 is better than, it's better than the P12, but the P12 is better than the P16, if that makes sense. One has all-wheel drive, one does not. One has always-on diff lock, one does not. They both have relatively high saddles, and they both... or one has only basically one thing you can put on it, the little heavy saddle. This one can put a little bit more on there, a little bit, and I mean a little bit on there, just a little bit. Then again, there was the Pacific P512, this weird thing that has an accordion for a horn. I literally mean that. Look up Pacific P512 horn in Snowrunner, specifically in Snowrunner, because otherwise you'll get something different. And you'll literally hear an accordion. The same sound an accordion will make is what that horn sounds like, which I think is funny, but then again, I'm just like, this thing is not French. This thing is not French. It's American. Why does it have a French horn? And I didn't mean to pun there because the French horn is actually an instrument. It's like a mini version of a trumpet, I think. And I mean a mini version. Oh, God. I don't want to just place it and just make people mad. I'm trying to take my time and go slow. I don't know a bunch of these because I never had the chance to test them. I've heard good things about this one, though. This particular one. The AACDW58 1270 1699. I don't know what it was called. It I'm pretty sure I named it and then I just started adding crap at the end of it. So there is that. Chevy Apache, it's a good truck. And because of its bonus feature, I'm going to give it great. Because it's a Scout that's both light enough to not break the ice and heavy enough to break the ice. But because of its light enough ability, quote unquote, it can go on the ice, break it, but not fall through. Which means it can just stand on the top. Like, it's in the motion of falling. I guess it'll break through the ice barely and just keep going. But it's not heavy enough to fall through the ice completely. If that makes sense. Sure, it's a paid DLC and it's a 6x6 and it's front wheel drive without all wheel drive on, which does suck a little bit. But then again, it's a Scout and it's a unique looking Scout. And I don't hate it. I use it a decent amount of the time because I was like, oh, because I wanted to give stuff that isn't used a lot a chance to be used. So there is that. And I missed a phone call. Oh well. Don't care. It's on silent anyway, so who cares? Let's just get the bad ones out of the way. These two are the same, but these two are gonna go up in probably A. Excellent tier. So let me grab this guy. Where'd I put him? Oh, I put him. No, put him up there. The Collab brothers are probably just gonna go in A and just stay there. Like, they're great, but there's certain problems with them anyway. Like, there's just certain problems with them anyway. Like, they're both big, fat, thirsty behemoths, but they have very good things involved in them. But they do need active suspension to get better ground clearance because look at the overhang on this one. This one has less of an overhang, but they still got the same sort of thing going on. So they would have been near perfect, but I put them down in excellent to account for if you're doing this game vanilla, meaning you're just going to complete the game normally and just ignore the rest of it, and then be like, oh, there's extra stuff I could have used. Let's try them out and try and earn them. And then go for them after you've done the normal story. That's when you're going to find a bunch of these upgrades for a bunch of the rest of the vehicles in the game are hidden in some of those DLC, including a certain one on my mind right about now, wherever that stupid thing is. This guy in particular, the Twin Steer 69. A very, very, very limited vehicle, vanilla, but a very good vehicle if you have the DLC. Because the only way for you to make this thing good is to give it all-wheel drive, because it doesn't have it normally. And it has a 4-slot bed, which you're like, oh wow, 4-slot bed, that's actually pretty fucking good. Wow. It's not if you don't get to use all-wheel drive, which you can't in the vanilla game, and because of its long, high wheelbase. Very, say high. High if you raise up the suspension to give it ground clearance, and long because it's a fucking length of two Cadillacs put together. Probably 2.5 to almost 3 Cadillacs put together, front to back. That's long, I guess, if that makes sense. Granted, no one's going to pay attention to that comment because no one cares. Anyway, it's a good vehicle, but I'm only going to put it in great because it's not. Because if you play the game normally, you're just not going to use it. It would probably be in trash, or at least the lid of trash, because it has, or decent. It would be in decent if you play it vanilla. But with the all-wheel drive, it makes it much better. The two Jeep DLCs, or the two Jeep Scout things. I don't know. One is definitely a good scout, and one is a decent scout. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. They're both Jeeps, which I'm like, oh, they were cool, but they're scouts, so that's why I'm like, I never use scouts, like, ever. I'm putting them there based upon what I did use them for when I did use them. There's only a few of them that I don't own. Like these two I don't own. I didn't unlock them or earn them. This one also counts too, but because I've heard good things, I'm just going to put it in great and be done with it. This one, it's a decent scout. You get it at the beginning of the game, but because it's so limited at the beginning of the game, you never use it once you get, I don't know, a certain scout or a certain vehicle. You just never use scouts again. And I believe that vehicle is the TUZ-16, wherever that is. It's the little short one. Where's the stupid short one? There it is. This guy. He's the one you get in very first season. These are the two vehicles you get in the very first in the first season, along with the Ford F-750, which is this one. A good large scout that has great sort of dependability on fuel, and it's decent looking. It's a Ford. Who cares? These two Russian things are good, but then again, they're only good if you get the parts in Imandra, which is the first season. That also counts for this guy, because this guy has a much better engine, which is supposed to be the quote-unquote the 6.7 turbo strokey guy, which gives it a lot more power, but at the same time, it's locked, and you have to find it in the map. In technically the second map, because Imandra's a second map region, or a 2-map region, which I already have issues with that map already, because something happened and I haven't been back there since. So that will be a whole different issue. Moving on. It's still a good scout if you get that engine. It would be great, but because I don't have it, I didn't get the chance to go back and get it because I don't play video games that much at the moment. I say video games that much at the moment. I do. You've seen it on my channel. That's technically a lie, but that stuff that isn't on the channel, I don't do much of anyway. Now, the two cats that I hate. This cat is going to be with its twin and be in the lid of trash. No all-wheel drive, only used in 2 missions or contracts in the Yukon, which already for me is a big grade down because I hate that region. I sound sick for some reason. I don't know why. And it has no all-wheel drive, which I already said. And there's no snorkel either. And even though it's a very wide vehicle and it has 2 add-ons, which one of them is resorted to the 2 missions, the other one's just a gigantic 529-gallon fuel tank, which I'm like, okay, good for you. How am I going to use that? How am I going to be able to get to the front lines to be able to deploy the 529-gallon fuel tank? Oh, you don't have an answer to that? Well, then you suck. Lid of trash you go. And then this cat, this one sucks personally. The 680, because this one's the 681. Which I mean, the 681 is an anniversary truck, which you get with the where is it? There's a certain another American truck that you get as part of the anniversary pack. I think it was the oh, there it is, the International HX 530 or 20 or something, or one of those two. Those two are free, which I'm fine with. That helps. So that's good. They're free and they're decent. I'm gonna put one in decent and put one in the. Actually, they're both. I'm gonna put that one in great and put that one in good. Like they're good, but they're not brilliant. But you do get them for free because it's the anniversary DLC. So that brings them a grade up. Any DLC that's free, like the skins at this point, because the skins are pretty much free at this point. At this point to me, because they're like, oh, pay $1 for a skin. Like, okay, who cares? It's $1. You're not gonna waste $1. You can buy a lot more things for $1 than you think, but a skin is a decent thing because then that makes them look much cooler. And there's certain skins you get in the game for free at this point because there's been so many updates to the game. The Atom, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. The Atom newest DLC, near perfect. I almost put in overpowered perfection, but it's near perfect. There's like 1 or 2 things wrong with it to me. And the one thing that's wrong with it, it's a paid DLC, which I never thought I'd take that into consideration, especially since I already put paid DLCs pretty much all over the place, except for A rank. Those 2 are base game. And then I put a paid. These 2 don't count because they're free. They're a free DLC. That doesn't count as paid. But they're still good. It's still a good vehicle. It's a great vehicle. It's a multi-purpose tool. It's like a Swiss Army knife. This thing is the Russian Swiss Army knife. It has a lot more usability and a great fuel tank size and has all the things you need with it. There's a 1 or 2 issues, and to me, a little lower ground clearance without that race suspension. If you're one of those people like, I like a challenge, and you're stupid to be like, oh, I'm not going to put the race suspension on there because it does something stupid to the game and it makes it think it's lower than it actually is. And it lowers the hitbox, which, I don't know. Very weird for those things to happen, but who knows? But that's why I'm just putting it in S. It would have been double S. It would have been SS, but I'm not doing it. It's still good, but it's a paid DLC, so I'm like, there's gonna be 1 or 2 drawbacks, but it's almost there. What else? This one I never used. This Dairy Longhorn thing. I like it, but when I first got it, when I first unlocked it in Alaska, the second region that's included in the game anyway, the base game, it's not great. It has always on all-wheel drive and diff lock, which I'm like, oh, that's perfect. But because they can only have a saddle and spare tires, it's like, wow, that puts some heavy limited use on it. So there is that. I would have put it in E, but it doesn't deserve to be in E because of these 2 cats. This one deserves to be in trash, personally, because I hated this thing. Not having a raised suspension already limits it. It has all-wheel drive, which is fine. Like, that's okay. having abilities for other add-ons, that's fine too, but because of no suspension and it just getting stuck on every little thing, you go a little bit off track path, you're screwed with this guy. So I'm putting it to F tier just to spite it because I hate this stupid thing. I hate it. I hate it. That's just the end of it. What's next? Let's just get the Western Stars out of the way. This one, great highway truck. Problem? Highway trucks go in E or D. I would say E. Yeah, E. Screw it. It's got a lot of power and all-wheel drive. But because it's a highway truck, it can only have a tractor and maybe a crane. I don't remember. But no diff lock. No good ground clearance, basically. And mainly that diff lock. And it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work to me. And why pay money when you can get 3 trucks when only one of them has the thing you want to use? Like the diff lock and all-wheel drive. I think it's this one that's the one that's good. Like this one, I'm gonna put it in I'm gonna put it in great. I'm gonna put it in great. It's great. It has all the things that, this guy had, but slimmer, has diff lock, has decent sized tires and suspension, and it has a roof rack on it, I think. This one, I'm just gonna put it in the same decent. Like it's a better version than this, but this one doesn't have diff lock. The other one with diff lock and all-wheel drive are nice and useful sometimes. Granted, certain trucks don't need them, or certain trucks just don't get them in general. Like this Royal, base game truck, great truck, no diff lock. The Navistar 55,000. This guy, pre-order truck. You pre-ordered the game, you get this truck included in your game for free. It has all-wheel drive and great power, no diff lock. The highway trucks, generally, without upgrades, don't have diff lock or all-wheel drive. These two, the GMC twins, get all-wheel drive. This International, just simple, basic, nothing. It has race suspension and better tires now versus base game because this thing sucks base game and this one sucks base game. Most fuel efficient guy of highway trucks until this guy came along, but then again, if you're doing base game, you don't get him, so but I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. This one's a good truck. I would say it's a great truck, and then this one's also a good truck. It's just these two you can interswap to be better. Like if you want more power and more fuel efficiency, go with the Ford. If you want something that's a bit smaller, aka shorter, and has the actual ability to get raised suspension, because if you have owned season, I think it was six. If you own Maine, which I think is season 6, I think you get raised suspension, which gives you bigger tires, which means you can actually use that thing to go off road more often. So there is that. It's just battle over preference, and if you have the DLCs. If you don't, well, buy the DLCs. That's my advice, especially since they were on sale. So if you missed out, that's your fault. That literally your fault. I'm not gonna guilt trip you. It's literally your fault. So that's just the end of it. These two, I don't use. These two I don't use. The Vorngrad twin brother things. I've used them, but I don't use them anymore. Like I'm gonna just say this one's a decent one and this one's a good one, but I don't remember anything about these two specific Vorn twins. And then there's the triplet. The triplet guy, I'm just gonna say is a good one and just or excellent one and just move on because it's a better version of both worlds. You get the power of one, but you have the versatility of the other, and then you have upgrades to make it better. I guess I don't know. I'm guessing on some of this, on some, not all, but some. The Mac defense, overpowered, overpowered, overpowered. It's perfect. Not going to say it again. It's perfect. It's an 8x8 militarized thing that has a lot more versatility and add-ons. It's got good power, good traction, has all-wheel drive and diff lock, so whoop-de-doo. And you can unlock it relatively easily. Well, I said relatively because everyone's opinion is different, so definitely up there with the overpowered. Now, where's the tank? There's the tank of death. There's the tank of death. That guy's an overpowered scout. Moving on. Did I put the F750 in there? Oh yeah, I'm gonna move that one to great. Actually, I'm gonna move that one to great. Like it's a great scout. It's a great scout. It's it's great, but it's not, you know, A or S or even over per. It's not perfect. Um, this one's a good scout. This one's just a bit fuel thirsty. The international some or another. It's the fastest scout in the game, which I'm like, okay, what does that have to do with the price of tea in China? Absolutely nothing, but it gets you there a lot quicker. Uh, but there is that, and I was gonna say it's free to unlock. It's not. You have to buy it in the store for like 16K or something like that. It's got a lot of power, which makes it super quick. Um, oh yeah, I was gonna put the Royal in a good spot. Actually, I'm gonna put that in good. Actually, I'm gonna put it in great. I guess a lot of these are gonna be B and C. I was gonna say, and the unknown did not use. I'm gonna put Scout in C. The I'm not gonna touch these because I don't own them. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say this one's a decent Scout, but there's better options. This one, I don't know. The Dawn, the Dan, or whatever it was, the Dawn, little mini boy, probably a good Scout. Hummer, great Scout. Um, and then I guess the TUZ, it's a decent Scout. I don't know. I haven't played recently. I haven't played for literally a few months actually. So that's why I'm just placing stuff here. I'm gonna say it's a excellent scout, along with maybe the F750, and then swap it. Like they're good scouts, they're great scouts, but they're not perfect. And then I just move the F750 because whoops. Oh well, it's gonna stay there anyway. Uh, what else do we got? The two big twins. They're both overpowered perfection. This one's a paid DLC, the one I'm dragging up here, and then the other one is also paid DLC, but it's in the hell of a region Amour, so it's just gonna go in S. Near perfect. It's not overpowered. Like the king of Mudrunner, Snowrunner, and Spin Tires. This was the king. And then this guy came along, and then this guy eventually took back its crown and became king again. So there is that. So there is that. It's in Amur, which I hated having to go over there and try and get to that area to be able to get this vehicle. I hated it. Hated it. But I still did it. Uh I'm trying to think. The TUZ 16, I'm just gonna put it in excellent. It's somewhere between a scout and the heavy duty light and medium sized truck things. But it can have an autonomous winch, which I guess is a good thing. I guess autonomous just means, oh, I don't have to have my engine on to use the winch. Yay! Which means you don't waste fuel, which is nice, but at the same time, it's a bit limited with add-ons because it's such a small ass truck. Same with the Warthog thing that I was near. This thing. They're both going to go in the same spot for me. They're both going to go in excellent, but they're not brilliant. They're not overpowered and they're not perfect. They're better than great. They're good. They're excellent, but at the same time, I'm just like I don't use them. So, I'm just going to put them up there though to be nice. This is going to make people angry. Trash. Move on. The plaid, I never got to use yet, so that's just gonna go there. I've heard great things about it, so I'm just gonna put it in great to be nice, or I'm gonna put it in near perfection because this thing, from what I've heard, is a locomotive on wheels, ton of torque, a lot of weight, an 8x8, and a decent amount of add-ons you can have on it. So I'm just gonna move it near perfection and just be done with it. Uh, Pace Steer 5600, the twin steer but with an extra axle. Very big, very girthy, very long. I'm gonna say excellent. Actually, I'm gonna say great because it's very thirsty and very long. Long wheelbase is not always a good thing. Long wheelbase is not always a good thing, especially when you're doing one of those. Oh, I'm a big heavy truck and I gotta have a big fat 8 slot heavy trailer. It's gonna stick on a hill if I go over it slow enough. It's gonna stick and get stuck, and my Saddle's not high enough. I can't get it over, which means I'm beached. Thank you very much. So, God, I still sound sick. I don't know why. Now this I sold immediately because I never used it. I used it like once and I was like, oh, cool. Oh, no diff lock. Oh, restricted with a crane and a saddle. Wow. And I never used it. I sold it immediately afterwards. So that's just where it's going to go. It's a good tractor, quote unquote. Tractor meaning it's a good semi thing. But because it can only pull trailers, that's all I can do. It can't have or other add-ons installed, then what's the point? I mean, I know what the point is, but at the same time, I'm just gonna put it in. I was gonna say I never used it. I'm gonna say it's a good one and just move on. It's opinionated, and it's a pre-order. A lot of the times, if you didn't pre-order it, you just have to buy it again, which I'm just like, eh. And I did. Now this thing, perfect. It's just gonna go up at the top. It's the cat thingy within the base game. It's huge and amazing, and it's nice actually. It's articulated, which is a bit iffy. It weighs a lot. It's rather slow. It's very powerful, but it's very fuel thirsty. It can have a water tank, a fuel tank, and a logging add-on, I think, and a cargo container add-on. Which I mean, I'm like, okay, good for you, Cat 730, 750, or whatever it was called. Um, good job. Anyway, excuse me. Paystar. I'm just gonna say it's a great truck and just move on because I never used it. I never did. So I first got it and I was like, oh, okay. And it's the run of the mill, like it's your workhorse, or it's the better workhorse than the one you get at the start of the game, which was the the Fleet Star, whatever this thing is. This thing was the workhorse you got at the beginning of the game. Eventually, it's gonna be good, and eventually it went up to great because of the DLC tires thing, so it's fine. Um, this one, or actually the Fem, it's overpowered, but it's near perfection because it's a glass cannon. A lot of power, a lot of torque, a lot of speed, a lot of great prowess, but very, 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 very weak, if that makes sense. Because that's what a glass cannon is. It has the ability, with the weakest tools available, to fire the most damaging amount of shots in a way that I just explained. It's near perfection, but it's still a glass cannon. It's rather weak. It has weak thresholds, I think. I could be wrong on that, but whatever. Um this thing. Um I don't know. I'm just going to say it's a good truck and just moving on because I don't know what this is. It was the Step Voron, Step Vion, the Step Vane. Step Vane, that's what it was. A lot of power, but still weak. It was like if the Fem was not articulated and it was stepanized. Like it's fine. Like okay, this thing it's near perfection. Like if it wasn't for its small, this is the Crocodile. It's a paid DLC truck and it has four wheel. It has always on 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive and diff lock, and it has its own unique tires and three unique add-ons and a roof rack as well. But it has a 40-gallon tank because yes, I'm one of those people who has to play in gallons measured out, which uh, sorry, I'm just messing with my old microphone, the microphone I used to use because that broke and I'm trying to fix it. Anyway, it's near perfection, but if it wasn't for that 40-gallon tank, like if it was like 50 or 60, I'd probably have used it more. Problem is, it also has a one-slot cargo because it only has a one-slot cargo bed on it, which does limit it a little bit more. So, eh. So it can just stay where it is. It can just stay where it is. Sorry, seen this multiple times. Can you just not show ads anymore, please? God. Tega, I'm gonna say it's excellent. I'm gonna say it's excellent. Sure, it takes a while to unlock, which isn't fun because you have to build the logging enterprises to unlock it, basically, which I did, but it took me, I don't know, 3-4 days to do because I was not one of those excellent people who knew every single thing about this game, because I don't. It took me 3-4 days to unlock this stupid thing, and I didn't mean to insult it there because it's not stupid. It's actually really, really good. So there is that. But because it was a pain in the ass, I'm gonna give it a downgrade. Not to piss people off, but because it just so much shit I had to go through for 3 to 4 days just to get it. I was like, oh, that was kind of worth it, but also not because I got angry and almost broke 3 of my 4 controllers. Well, I say 3 of my 4. One of my 2 controllers that I have, because the other one is already broken because it won't charge and it won't turn on anymore. So there is that. Um, these two are the Zeke twins, the White Western Star, the I don't remember what you are. I think you're Tatra. You 3 are Tatras. Oh wait, no, all 4 of you are Tatras. Actually, never mind. All 4 of you are. Wow. Farming. Let's just go ahead and say it. They're tractors. They have very, very limited use. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and put them in good, but they're only good at farming. Just to be nice. Because they have significantly less power because they're tractors, because that makes a lot of sense. Why give them an overpowered engine when you could just dumb down that engine and be like, yep, it's a tractor. And just be like, oh, instead of 275,000 torque, here's 175,000 torque for you. Because yes, that's what the game rates it at, 175,000 for that guy, and I don't know that one. And I'll be honest, I never earned him. I never earned that one. I earned him, and I was like, oh, that's good. It's a tractor. Okay. This one I never earned, so I don't know about that one. And they got nerfed because now they have always on all-wheel, or they have toggleable diff lock or all-wheel drive. I don't remember which one, but I think they have toggleable things now instead of always on, which I was like, oh, well, that sucks. So there is that. Kenworth, the Kenny. Yeah, they didn't kill Kenny this time. They gave him overpowered perfection. But he was a little bit of a pain in the ass to unlock, so there is that. Because he's in season, I think it's 10, actually. It's the same one as the Mac Defense. Like, they're in British Columbia or something, I think. But they're fine, I guess. Like, he's good. He is a little bit slow, but then again, I expect that. He also got his cardboard bed finally added, or his special bed he got added, I think, a month or 2 later after that. Because people were like, where's the bed? He's an oil field desert guy. Isn't he supposed to have a custom bed? And a month or 2 later, they're like, okay, here, take it, take it, take it, take it, take it. And they just, and they just didn't care, or they did care because they gave it to us, but at the same time, we had to wait a month or 2 before we could get it. So I was like, oh, okay. There we go. God. A and K, civilian and normal. They're both great, but one has very limited usability and the other one does not. He's a great truck, but very bad fuel consumption. He's an excellent truck because he's getting more usability than his militarized brother. He's very, very limited. He has all-wheel drive and diff lock always on, a very small fuel tank, and at speed he can tip over faster than people expect him to. The civilian is the same thing, but instead of that stupid cardboard bed, he can have better add-ons, or at least a bit more add-ons with the same power and adaptability as the other guy did. So there is that. He's a better version, so that's why he's ranking higher, because he gets more usability than him. They're both great, but one's better than the other, so there is that. The Borlak. This stupid thing. It's cool, I guess, but I never use it, so I'm just gonna put it there and good and just be done. It's a safe thing to put it in B and C because they're the biggest so far. Because this one, I don't know. I never used these three. And isn't there supposed? I think that's either the Resvani tank or the Resvani 6x6. Which I've used the Resvani 6x6. It's good, but it's not great either. Excuse me. This guy. He's only good. This GMC in particular is the starting highway truck you get at the beginning of the game, or the second beginning, or pretty much. He's the second truck you unlock because you get the Chevy CK 1500 for free when you start the game in the tutorial. He's the second truck you unlock, or the first one you unlock. Technically, the second one you unlock because you get the Chevy for free. I've but he's only good once you get the all-wheel drive in Amandra, which is like the first upgrade you should beeline for, but it's in a crappy place. So that's why I was like, eh. Like, he does get better as you upgrade, but he doesn't get good enough. Like, vanilla game, he'd probably be E or D, but after getting the upgrades, he's good. Or actually, he's great, actually. He's great, but only if you get the upgrades. If you don't, he's probably C or D. Like, there's no... Like, he can have a diff lock base game, but he can't have all-wheel drive. It says he can at this point because you have to own a Mandra, but before the game came out, you couldn't. So, or before those DLCs came out, you couldn't. So, there is that. The GMC 8000, very, very good. I would say it's above these two things. I would say it's above these, like it's in the middle. I'm not gonna try and rank it. Thinking I just put it in the middle because I was like, oh, that's probably where I would have put it if I got to it first. Like it's a better version of the GMC 9500. This thing, but it actually has the ability to get all-wheel drive. So, suck on that game. The Zeke twins. One's made for firefighting, basically, and the other one's a tractor. And they both have the ability to get the Tega wheels, which I'm just like. And if you don't know what they are, they were tires that were exclusive to this vehicle at one point. And then everyone was just like, give us the Tega tires, give us the Tega tires, give us the balloon tires, and so on and so forth. And I just said, no. Because I never liked the Tega, so I was like, I'm not going to do anything with those tires. They may be great tires, but they're not good tires either. Like, they have a drawback, and it's called they balloon and they ruin the stability of certain vehicles, like this, I was going to say like this Zeke, but, like certain other vehicles. So there is that. And the tire DLC came out and added better tires, so, like, I'm going to just say he's good. Like, he's a decent truck, or I'm going to say he's a good truck, but the Tega, the Zeke thingy, which is tied to an achievement, actually, and I used him. He's an excellent truck. I like him already. Like, actually, I'm going to move them up. Like, I like them both. I was like, oh, those are cool. I like them, because I like that kind of sort of thing anyway. But at the same time, I'm just like, eh. I'm surprised I haven't switched to these to remember the names, because I'm slowly getting them back. Slowly. Now, this is a Dan. This you have to go to Tamir and unlock via something stupid, and I don't remember. But he's good, but he's way too big for me to travel around with. Like, I'm just going to put him in great and move on. Excuse me. This guy, this small guy is a tractor, so he's just going to go in D. Decent, but he only has very limited use. Because he's got that weird fire suppressant tank thing at the back, like some weird logistical things at the back behind him that you can't mess with. And when you're pulling a trailer, because that's the only thing he can do, or have a crane, but no saddle because reasons, that does limit him a little bit. So he's going to go in D. He's going to go in decent. Now, the con is very, very nostalgic for some people because this was in Spin Tires and Mud Runner. Because this was the 3151. It was the more modified version of the stock A350 or whatever it was. It was a modified version of that weird little Jeep you got in the very beginning of the game. The start one. Well, I say Jeep. The little 4x4 thing you got. That Russian thing. It's a very good scout, but then it got nerfed. Fuel tank was now half the size. And that hurt it badly, in my opinion. So I'm just going to say it's good and just move on. Actually, I'm going to move that burlap up. Because it's a 6x6 and it has studded tires, which means it doesn't need chained. And it comes with its own little repair module thing and can have other things on it. But it's a Scout, but bigger. It's in the Scout category. Then again, so's a tank. So's a tank for some weird reason. Or an APC. Sorry, tank, APC. Semantics. This is tied to an achievement too. This weird little collab, or not collab. I'm trying to remember what it was. The Antarctic. That's what it was. The 4220 Antarctic is tied to an achievement where you have to actually own it, but you have to own it by getting to rank 30, I think, and then you have to have a crap ton of money to buy it, and then drive it, and then you get the achievement, which I never want to do. And it's good, but it's only good in harsh conditions. Like, it's a great truck, but it's only good in harsh conditions. Like, very bad mud, very bad ice, very bad snow, very bad dirt, and so on. But it's only good in harsh conditions. You can't really use it anywhere else. And it's articulated, which is both a blessing and a curse. So there is that. Good starter truck. It's good. I'm gonna say it's great and move on. Now when you get it like rank 6 and it's very slow, but it's proved the test of it survived the test of time so far with a few years of Snowrunner fans just be like, "Yep, it's good, it's good, it's good, it's good, it's good, it's good, it's good," and it just repeats. So there is that. This thing, the 5319, I think it was. It's essentially a faster version of the same thing, but it has a smaller fuel tank, I think. This one's got like 53 and this one's got like 60 or 70 or 80 gallon tank, I think. I could be wrong on that, but yeah. The bore. I think it at one point had the highest saddle in the game, so I'm just going to put it in excellent and just move on. Like, it's good, but only at certain points. Like, it's great, and it's very useful for carrying those heavy saddle trailers because of its high saddle, which means it doesn't get beached or high centered a lot when doing those big trailers, so that's good. What else? Oh, I quickly finished. Well, I say quickly. Let's get these Tatra boys up there. We're gonna put you in great, the little mini Tatra, because that's fine. This one is a good Tatra, but I didn't really like it when it first came out. I was like, oh, okay. The Phoenix, I'm gonna say, is great, and then this guy is excellent. I'm trying to speed things along a little bit and do the Tatra. The 4 Tatras are probably placed correctly. You have the Tatra Mini, the Phoenix, I think it was the 101 or something like that, and then the Tatra Force, which both of these two things sucked to unlock, and they're both okay, but they're not. One is more of a recovery vehicle, and the other one is more of a universal use of thingies. This one's a mini recovery thing, which you got included with the DLC with this one, and this one's just a better version of the Force and the Phoenix if they both had intercourse. White Western Star, great truck. Just move on. White Western Star. Not really fun to unlock, but not really terrible. Not hard, but not really easy either. Upgrades are locked around the map, so you have to find them. They're in the base game, the normal map. You don't have to switch to Alaska or Tamir. They're in the normal map. You just have to go around the 4 regions in that map, or the 4 maps in that region, and find the parts, and then you can get a good vehicle to use. And it has a good skin. The flaming dice skin. Like, I like that skin personally. Uh, the Dairy. Oh no, we got the two Dairy twins or brothers. One's a firefighter based, which was I think season 9, where you got firefighters, which unlocks the Zeke firefighter, which at the time the water tank things didn't work. They eventually fixed that, I think, at this point, but they didn't work when they first came out. I was like, oh, we can't do the task or contracts that involve water because they're broken. And so that just limited it a little bit. So they fixed that. So eh, it's still good. Like, it's still good, but it's not perfect because it just it's preference. This thing, great. I never used it. I got it once and I was like, oh, okay. Tried it once and then that's all it took. I was like, oh, this is just a tractor but with a great engine. And then it eventually got a better engine, even better engine. And I was just like, wow, it's more power than you need. So there is that. The Chevy Kodiak, this weird thing. Like, I would say it's great. It has another 53-gallon tank, but it's more fuel efficient because it's a heavy duty. It can have all-wheel drive and diff lock and great off-road tires and suspension, so and good amount of add-ons. It's a good truck. It's just tiny. It's just small compared to some of the other ones. Well, not as tiny as the Zeke 566, but it's not big and girthy like some of these other Russian boys up here. A lot of Russian boys are in here. I'm gonna say a lot. A few of the Russian boys are in here. We got a good list of overpowered perfection and just S rank. A rank's pretty good. I would say this is mostly accurate to me, I guess. Now we got the weird ones. The White Western or the W990 got a buff. Before the buff, I would say it's probably B, but with the buff, I'm gonna say it's A. Like, it's pretty good. It's got good amount of power, much better traction now, which means you can actually use the tires and actually be fine. Has always on diff lock, I think. And it can have a decent amount of add-ons. Now this one, the Western Star, something or another. I'd have to go back and read them all to you, but because I don't want to write them down and then say it because I don't remember and I won't remember which one is which because I'll probably confuse them all. So this one, I would say it's good, or I would say it's great. Because this one has a dead axle. You know how that axle is slightly higher than the ground and it lowers itself? It's not powered. It's only there for stability and weight control, I guess. Other than that, it doesn't really work. So you're better off just leaving it up because it doesn't help. It doesn't help. So it's great. It has good power, but it's not. It has all-wheel drive. I think it has diff lock, but that dead axle does not help. Trucks with dead axles are stupid. They're just stupid. They're there for one purpose, and they do not assist when doing off-roading. They do not. So it's more of a hindrance than a helping hand. So there is that. So what's left? We have the International SD 1119 or something like that, the Pacific P512, the Step Pike, and the weird culmination of the whatever the fuck this guy's name was because I don't remember because I never talked about him. I just now got to him. So um this guy's been in the base game for so long, he's been forgotten. But at the same time, he's still a great truck. He's just, people have forgotten about him. He's fuel efficient and he's multi-purpose tool. He's all-wheel drive and diff lock available. Not on, but available. Because you have to find the upgrades for it again. But then again, it's fine. This one doesn't have all-wheel drive, but it has good diff lock. And it's good, but it's not really great. Like, that all-wheel drive lack of kind of hurts. And it's got an accordion horn, so I guess I'll put it up in great. Now the step, I'm just gonna put it in excellent and move on. Like, it's great, but it's not perfect. Like, I like it personally because I was like, oh, it reminds me of that old truck from Mudrunner, the bad one where you have to use the B-130 and transport only short logs to complete a logging company task thing. You have to do that about 8 times, or 4 times. 4 times. Sorry, 4 times, I think. It's either 8 times or it's 4 times, and I don't remember. And then you have this one. Oh, and then it's this one. It has a very small fuel tank, and it's rather fragile. It can have the Tega tires, because you can see it in this photograph, or the image that it's given to me. You can see it in there. And it's an 8x8 that can have a crane and a roof rack installed at the same time, and a sideboard add-on thing. But that crane does add a bit of weight, and its power does go down a little bit, and it does require you to have and I don't think there's any upgrades for it for suspension, so I think the ground clearance is a little low and the overhang's a bit much. But then again, it's good, but I'm gonna say it's done. Now I just gotta remember the names of these stupid things, and then we'll be fine. Ugh. Okay, let's just summarize this, and hopefully everything's correct. Hopefully. Mm. In SS tier, we have the Mac. We have the Mac, the only Mac in the game, so that makes it easy. We have the Tank. We have the King of Mudrunner, Snowrunner, and Spin Tires. The 7310 someone or another. I think that's what it was. But it's the King of Snowrunner. The Caterpillar 6x6. Not the cab. The big logging boy. The Kenworth 963. I was going to say Aerial Atom there for a minute. The Azov Atom. I forget what this one is. I'm just going to name a number. It's going to be the Azov, I don't remember. I actually don't remember. I have to actually go back and look at the list. Crap. I literally don't remember. Now I have to go back and look. Okay. Come on, where is it? Where is it? Come on. Sorry. Mac Defense, that's what it was. Okay. Oh, they're both Zeeks. Never mind. Okay. Okay. So we have the Mac Defense, the Tank, the Zeeks 612, the Caterpillar, Articulated Boy, Kenworth 963, Aerial Atom, Zeke 609R, 605R, the Plaid 450, the Fem AT Glass Cannon, the Zeke Crocodile, or the Step Crocodile. I think it's Zeke Crocodile, though. The Collab Twins, the Voron Graduation Boy, Ford F750, the Mercedes. I don't know what this one is, so we'll come back to that one. The the TUZ16, the TUZ Warthog, the Tega 6455B, the A&K Civilian, the Zeeks, whatever this thing was. I don't remember. I don't remember this one. The Boar 4310, the what the hell is it? The Tatra 103, the Dairy Firefighter, I think it's the Kenworth W990, the W990, the Step Pike, which is an homage to the B130, but with a third axle. which is funny. The Con Loaf, the Pacific P16, the Chevy Apache, the Twin Steer 69, the AAC 58DW or something like that, International 520, GMC 8000 Brigadier, the White Western Star 1530 or 1430 or something like that, International 5070, Royal BM 17, the H2 Hummer, which personally I would have liked the H1 Alpha, but then again we had that in the American Wilds DLC of Mudrunner back in the day. We have the next version of it, which I'm like, wow, that sucks. The Paystar, that's literally the Paystar International. The International 5600, the Fleet Star, sorry, the starting truck, the heavy duty, the do-it-all workhorse, the ANK militarized, GMC 9500, Zeke 50 or 566, the Dan Crane thing, I think it's like 95 630 or something like that, the Burlak 6x6, the 4220 Antarctic, the Rank 6 Azov thingy, the Azov 5319, the Mini Tatra Service Boy, the Tatra Phoenix, White Western Star 6436, the Dan 4520, I think, Chevy Kodiak, White Western Star with dead axle, the SD 1119, the Pacific P512, the Aramatsu Forester, this weird Beetle Fiat thing, the Pacific P12, the Jeep, or Jeep A and then Jeep B was somewhere else. I think Jeep B is down here somewhere, but I don't remember. Wait, where is that Jeep? Um. Uh. Okay, maybe I skipped it. I don't know. Oh well. Oh, there it is. I'm stupid. The Jeep, the newer Jeep, because that's this Jeep C7. So newer Jeep, the Cat 681, the Ford 9000, the Voron some or another, the green one, International, the Scout International, the Scout 800, the Dawn, the Dawn 93, the Navistar 5000, the Step Vane, the Kirovets 700, and the Kirovets 7M, the A3151, the Tatra Force, and this weird amalgamation of parts, which I forget the name of, the Azov 95310762447 or whatever it was, the newer Land Rover Defender, the 90s Land Rover Defender, CJ7, CK1500, the Dairy Longhorn, the 1430 White Western Star, the Voron, the red version, the one I don't like personally, but whatever. The Sentinel Con, the TUZ Scout 1600 or whatever it was called. I think it's just TUZ 16, but then again, why would the other one be TUZ 16? That doesn't make sense. Okay, so that one's a different TUZ. The I forget what this one is. I literally forget what this one is, so whatever. The two Cats and the White Western Star Highway one. In trash, we have the Sprinter, the other Cat, and the Tega, just to spite people, because I never liked it. And then I do not use or own these three Scouts at the bottom. The Indian guy, the other Indian guy, and then the Resvani tank. because that could be the Resvani 6x6, which, but yeah, let me just zoom out so that way people can see. Nope, that's not. Wow. Actually, let me just do it that way. Yeah. So that's up to season 13 because I don't own the 2 tractors or the 2 earth roamers. An hour and 15 minutes later, thereabouts, that's it for this tier list. Whilst I'm not particularly accurate, I did expect this one to take a while because there's certain ones I just never used, and there's certain ones that are just good. There's a lot of great trucks and a lot of good trucks. There's a couple that suck balls, but there's a couple that are overpowered. There's like 5 that are overpowered, 5 that are near perfect. There's about 15 or so that are excellent. There's 15 that are excellent. There's a lot that are great. I'm going to go out on a limb and say 15. About 30 that are great. About 16 that are good. 11 that are decent, but, and then 3 for trash and the lid of trash. Somewhere in between the decent tier and the trash tier. The lid meaning they're above trash, but they're not good enough or usable enough, in my opinion, to be in the decent tier. That's why I called it the lid of trash. So there is that. I would go over the names again, but it took me so long just to remember the names that I probably forgot them already, so that's probably it. Hopefully I didn't just waste an hour of my time. Because if I did, I'm gonna be so fucking pissed if this microphone doesn't work. Which it should be working because it's picking up and I'm hearing it myself, and it just says turn off. So yeah, no, it works. We're fine. But yeah, that's my tier list, with the exception of season 14, because I would have put all 4 of them in the I did not use and do not own. So just for reference, that bottom one is stuff I don't own and stuff I never used. Mainly it's the stuff I don't own, which equals the stuff I don't use because I don't own them to use them. So that's why that's there. A lot of you other people who play Snowrunner and watch other people's Snowrunners gameplay and ratings and whatnot can probably have a disagreement with me in the comments, but there's only one in there that I'm spiting, and it's technically the Tega because I hated that. The only other thing that's justified is the Sprinter, which is fair, and then the Cat 680 because that cat in particular sucks balls. That one in particular sucks balls. It sucks balls compared to the other free brother that it gets, the 681, which I think, if I can look at my pictures, is this one here. At least that one is a even though it has a dead axle, it at least is better than the 681. It's much better. So there is that. Those 3 can go die. Or at least if they made the season 7 actually work without multiplayer, I mean, you can use the races, I would have put the Sprinter actually in good. I would have done that. It's very fast. It's not tough though because of its special Sprinter racing engine that you can put on it, which just makes it go donkey balls fast. Which I never thought I would compare speed to donkey balls for some reason. I don't know why I said it twice, but okay. And then the 680 can just stay in its trash hole. The Tega is good. I just never liked it from the beginning. So I've always had a hatred for it. I don't know why. I don't know why I hate it. I want to move it, but I don't want to move it just to spite people because it's my opinion. People can just say, the Tega's the best, the Tega's the best, it has the balloon tires. Balloon tires are not always good, and you can't equip them on every vehicle to make that vehicle better. Counterpoint successful. So there is that. And then the other 3, I just one's a separate DLC, and these two I just never unlocked. A lot of the other ones I've unlocked and probably have used at least once or twice, but there's a lot more that I use than the rest. There's just certain ones that are just, oh, yes. Oh my god. God, I just sound stuffy and sick for some reason. I don't know why. Oh well, an hour and 20 minutes later, that's it. That's it. I would say that's fine. So, thank you all for watching. If I get to do a tier list again, um, I know what I'll probably do, and I'll probably just rank Resident Evil Village weapons or something like that. I was gonna say Far Cry 6 weapons, but I don't want to do that. I'm thinking of doing other tier lists. I just don't know what though. I'd say Resident Evil 2 weapons, but I don't know. I don't know. I already did Resident Evil 4 weapons. I did Simpsons Cars tier list, and now I've done Snowrunner all vehicles with the exception of season 14 tier list. So there is that. Thank you very much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Please, if you have a disagreement, please post it in the comments because I like to see other people's opinions, and if people get angry because what is that? He put the tank on there? It's just gonna make my day. So please, I commend you to doing that. I want you to do it. It's an order. That's it. That's it. So, whenever I record again is when you'll see me. I don't know when that is. I'll figure it out though. Bye.